And friends.
Very good. You ready to rock?
Ready to rock? So, hello. I just wanted to say a few words because, sadly, this will be my last service at the center. So yeah, I just wanted to say I've enjoyed these last 9 months with this incredible group of lovely people and you all. So thank you for the opportunity to serve you. And yeah, I'll keep in touch.
Hey, Morgan, we have a little, just a small little token gift for you in appreciation. It is. It's hard to let it go.
You can do it, Sue. You can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. She brought so much to us in those 9 months. We had an incredible Christmas service and the most phenomenal Easter service we have ever had here. Thanks to her vision, her talent, her willingness to step outside the lines and just to share everything she had with this group of people. And she is so incredibly endearing. On Thursdays, I would do some teaching in the back, and she'd be giving them a class with a whiteboard and a table. Theory, studying theory. And they were all, you could hear laughter, and their voices just filled our halls with love, and we will never forget you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, welcome everyone. Memorial Weekend, and you're hanging in here in Reading. That's great. Well, I want to welcome you all, and you know, this is a very special place where we inspire people to live spiritually fulfilling lives, and we work really hard at that. And so right now we're going to invite the children up, and we're going to sing them out to their teachers. So come on up, little ones, and we'll sing The Face of God. Face of God, I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. All right. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. All right. That's always fun. Always fun. I'd like to thank everyone who came to put this all together this morning. We have Patty Ringer in the sound booth. She's a newbie, and Jim's there to help her. Glad to have you, Patty. And Doug and Ronnie Herber as ushers and greeters. We always love seeing you there at the entry. And Sue did a visiting at 9 o'clock, so that was really wonderful. And let's see, children's teachers, musicians, I mean, all these wonderful people. It takes a lot to make a happy church on Sunday. If you're new with us today, we have a wonderful friendship packet. We'd like to bring you one. Anyone new? I don't see new. If you'd like one, they're in the blue folder on the back wall. If you have anything that would go off and ring or ding or anything during the service, we'd appreciate it if you would put it on silent mode. Thank you. And focus announcements. We have a few wonderful announcements. Hatha Yoga, there's a little bit of a change here. It's Monday and Wednesdays, 5:30 to 6:45 p.m. Tammy is going to take the summer off and return in September, and Reverend Sue will be doing the classes through June. Then she will take July and August off, starting again in September. And Reverend Sue's going to do a class on the Enneagram. That will be Thursday, June 2nd, 6 to 8 p.m. And then I have made arrangements for us to have a booth at the health fair at the convention center next Saturday. And it's going to be just phenomenal. And we're looking for people to staff the booth. If you would like to help with that, the sign-up sheet is on the table in the foyer. And even if you aren't a teacher or a practitioner or anything, if you just take those classes, yoga, tai chi, any of them, the art classes, if you would love to walk the labyrinth, I'd love to have you come and be in the booth, because you can say, here's how it is, here's how it feels, here's why I love it. So if you would like to sign up, we'd sure love having you there. Paint and Pour with Ava Malinowski is Saturday, June 4th, also noon to 2 p.m. There's one of those things. And on Friday, June 10th, we have a spiritual music jam again with Michael Harris and Shem Smith. Friday, June 10th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Bring whatever instrument you want, and if it's only your voice, that's okay. Then we have the Grace of Aging Sage Workshop, Reviewing Our Life. It's the Age Sage Workshop. Reviewing Our Life, and Now What? That's the topic, so that should be really fun with Reverend Sue and Shirley Wade, Saturday, June 11th, 9 to noon. All right, wonderful. We have a reading that I will do, since the person who was going to do it isn't here, and it is Memorial Day weekend. This starts off with a few quotes. According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Memorial Day is celebrated in late May because that's when flowers are likely to be blooming. General John Logan, who served in the Civil War, urged citizens to adorn the final resting place of veterans with fresh flowers. Now, that was new information to me, so I appreciate that. John F. Kennedy said this: "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." And Bob Dylan said, "I think of a hero as someone who understands the degree of responsibility that comes with his freedom." And Helen Keller said, "So long as the memory of certain beloved friends lives in my heart, I shall say that life is good." There was a prayer offered in memory of the recent loss of those wonderful children and teachers in Uvalde, Texas. It was written by Reverend Scott Aubrey. Let me read it for you. Please pray with me. I pray for the families in Uvalde, in Buffalo, in New York City, in Oxford, and in so many other sites of tragedy. Infinite Presence, with a broken heart, I pray that families, friends, and communities are feeling the love of God and that they feel not alone. I pray that every grieving person is held by caring arms. I pray that the grace of forgiveness becomes a felt experience for them and for us all. Dear God, I pray that lawmakers come to points of connection and compassion, and that they selflessly take action to change our course of violence. I pray that voters are compelled to follow their pure heart and elect representatives who advance communities of peace. Spirit, I pray that the hurtful aspects of my own heart be released and forgiven, and I pray that the good of God becomes the collective consciousness of us all. Amen. The truth is, God is all there is. The divine energy in everyone and everything. The energy that connects us all. And that's why today we are feeling what is happening in so many areas of the country. We are feeling what is happening in our own heart as the signs of these tragedies continue. But we really know God is all there is, and everyone in every part of these activities are children of God, created with love. And that's what holds us together, that we're all in this together, and we are feeling what is. And so this week, I know for myself and everyone here, as we individually pray for the departed souls and for all of the families who've been touched by this and other events, we are feeling what is. I'm so grateful for this philosophy, so grateful to know the truth. God everywhere present, everywhere present. I am so grateful. And in that way, I can do my prayer work, but also hold my head up, knowing God is all there is. So I release these threads of anxiety, the helplessness. I release it, knowing there is more to all of this and any of us know. I say thank you, God, for their souls, for our souls, for feeling what is. And so it is. Oh, Reverend Sue, bless you.
Wow. Oh, there. That step is getting bigger. Good morning. So, are you guys okay behind me there? Still, I know this is the most self-conscious thing. Thank you. Thank you. But I want to share with you, tapping into what's going on and how you're feeling. Check in. It hasn't been easy. This week, after I heard the news, I was waiting in the parking lot to pick up little Corey, little 3-year-old from preschool, watching the children play, watching joy and innocence, pure being. And I couldn't wait to get him safely into the car. And as I taught yoga this week, people wept. They didn't know their anger. They didn't know what to do with what is, with what they were feeling, the desperation, the here we are again. And I thought, I don't either. I don't know what to do with this. And I thought, we need a minister here. Oh, that would be you. And I recall when I lost my neighbor when I was 16 from a family argument from a gunshot wound, and all the drama and all the pain. And I remember he had at his graveside for months, I would drive my little VW down there and just tell Zodi that I will never be happy again. I promised him that. And then I went back to school and I remembered laughing and feeling, I laughed. And then I realized I was healing. I was moving on. I tried to talk to my Methodist minister because I was having nightmares. And so I'm thinking of all these things that these precious children and their families are now dealing with in the shock and the horror of what is. And I thought, I don't want to spiritually bypass this. I don't want to spiritually bypass your hearts. I don't want to stand up here and be Debbie Downer. But let's touch it. Let's touch the sorrow today in a way that brings healing. So one of the other title talks for this message was supposed to be high tide, low tide. And I thought it was kind of corny. But I realized there are the times where Emotion is so relatable to water, to sometimes we feel so full, so happy, so joy-filled, and other times we're walking, looking for answers as the ebb flows way out into sea, and we feel a little bit curious or lost. So all of these bring up emotions, and the whole month we've talked about this, how these are the resources for us to find our feelings and our emotions as guides to the holy temple that we live in, to reflect and to grow and to learn through the emotions as only emotions can rawly speak to us. So this sadness, yes, prevailed this week, and I took the time to read each of the profiles of the families and the children. And each one of those precious little children, all of their siblings or their parent referred to them as now they are the angels. And I thought that was pretty interesting from a science of mind point of view, to look into their hearts and seeing it all as this field of angels, very precious. And Scott Robry is a minister that I follow for a lot of his wisdom and his quotes. And he says this: I am in touch with any sadness that may be resident in my heart. I have the courage to let myself feel it. You know what? It does take courage. It does take our courage. The events of our world have been distressing, and let's call it what it is. At moments, we feel the anguish of it all. Now, Brene Brown, in the Atlas of the Heart, she says this about anguish is the most unbearable and traumatic swirl of shock, incredulity, grief, and powerlessness. Anguish comes from our bones, doesn't it? Doesn't that really touch the sore spot? Taking away our ability to breathe, to think or feel, we physically seem to crumble inside of ourselves, forcing us to the ground of being. Very important there, forcing us, anguish, forcing us to the ground of our being. She adds, the element of powerlessness is what makes anguish traumatic, unable to change, reverse, negotiate what has happened. Yeah, that's anguish. And our hearts are hurting. Our hearts are hurting for a multiple amount of reasons over the last couple of years. All the lives lost from COVID. And then we get into a war. Then we have all kinds of other additional strains put upon us, other mass shootings. It feels so distressing when we hear of another school shooting and that traumatic realization that precious, precious, precious little innocent lives are taken so, way too soon, and we're all shaken by that. So there's this gloom and helplessness, despair, anger comes up, all of these emotions that we have spoken to. So I want to share with you some really wise words. Valerie Carr is one of my favorite authors to follow. She really is walking behind her word. She really puts to task what is before us, touches the wound, and helps us to find our way. So I can't paraphrase her words, I can only share them with you. And this is what she says. What does it feel like in your body? This is Valerie. For me, a primal scream that won't stop. When the death toll in Uvalde climbed to 19 children, I knew I had to wash the tears from my face and go downstairs and hug my babies and get them to bed. I wondered, is the heart big enough to hold this? All this grief, all this rage, all the joy in their faces. My ancestors say, oh, my love, yes. That is the heart we gave you. Oh, my love, yes. That is the heart we gave you. Listening to Mary's beautiful prayer, recognizing that, feeling what is, and recognizing no matter which direction our anguish, our emotions take us, love prevails. There's this divinity, you can name it whatever it is for you, what makes you feel comfortable, but there's this vast love that's with open arms, everlasting open arms that says, come, come. Let's hold each other. She goes on to say, that is the heart they gave us. If you can't function, it's okay. If you can't feel, it's okay. If you can't find your breath, it's okay. Your breathlessness is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of your bravery. It means you are awake to what is happening right now. Violence in the country is getting worse. The hate, the violence, the gun violence, and the only way we will survive this, the only way we will change it, is together. Let's begin with the breath. Let it come. Hold it for a few moments, and then let that breath go. Here is why Valerie believes that we can change this. 10 years ago, she worked on the ground in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. In response to the horrific white supremacist shooting of a Sikh area, it was the largest massacre of Sikhs on this soil. I remember looking into the open caskets of people who looked like my family, feeling like I was going to fall into an abyss. The doors of the gym opened. People started to flood in for the memorial. Thousands of people. They don't even know us, but they showed up to grieve with us. You don't have to know people in order to grieve with them. You grieve with them in order to know them. You grieve with them in order to know them. That's so beautiful. And because they grieved with us, many stayed to organize with us, and together we changed federal hate crimes policy within a year. After months in Oak Creek, my husband and I boarded a plane home to Connecticut. I was relieved to go home, ready to rest. Soon as the plane touched the ground, my phone blew up with the news, a shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, so we didn't go home. We went straight to the church in Newtown to grieve with the people we did not know. I had left the site of one mass shooting only to go home to another. In one massacre, the gunman hated us. In the next, the gunman hated himself. Both men had cut themselves off from humanity, others, and their own. This week, same pattern. The news of Uvalde broke an hour before I was about to speak about solidarity in the wake of Buffalo. Once again, we're hurled from the side of one mass shooting to another. The gunmen in these shootings weren't even born when many of us began this work. What do we do when the violence is generational and firearms are making killing more efficient? So she goes on to state her platform, and she's talking for background checks. Building beloved community is what we have here. Shifting a culture and a consciousness, block by block, heart by heart, heart to heart, believing that we can make every school, every house, every workplace, every community a place where we leave no one outside our circle of caring. Where we help one another be brave and whole, we can become the medicine that stops violence at its roots. We can do this by putting love into practice. And she said, grieve. Yes, grieve. What is the shape of grief in your body? If you feel like there's a primal scream in you, then it's time to make space for that to heal. Let yourself touch sorrow, rest and breathe with it. Don't isolate. Show up, go to a healing circle, organize one if needing, go to a vigil. Be with people who make you feel safe. So I look at you all today and I thank you for being here, because together we can make this love feel safe again. Let in the softness and the love in the places that ache. Make space to just stop and to feel. She talks about the rage. What is that force of rage in your body? Notice where you're constricted, tense, or numb. Move that energy. Curse, scream, shake, dance, run. Don't choke down your rage or let it fester. Be with people who can honor your rage and process it, because that rage has information for you. What is it telling you? Only you know. And you recognize it as something for you to fight for. You have a role to play, and none of us are playing a small role. She said, fight. Fight with a courageous step. Find one that you're willing to take. Do not swallow the lie that nothing can be done. Do not swallow that lie. You have a sphere of influence. Every choice we make, every word, every action, every encounter co-creates culture and shapes what happens next. It's powerful. It's powerful when we step back and take that breath and say, no more. No more. We use our voice, our art, our story, our money, our power, our heart, our words, our gatherings, whatever it is, we step up. And then she said, this is so beautiful, reimagine. So many of us have sung the song of John Lennon, imagine. Imagine. Well, now, reimagine. What is the world you want? What does your beloved community look like? What does it feel like? We can only live into what we imagine. Protect time and space to dream, and dream big. Now, take one step to the dream. She closes this with breathe. Check in with yourself, and how will you breathe today? This is the work of a lifetime, our lifetime. Take some time for self-care, to rest, to step away from news, to nourish your body, to hold your loved ones. Remember the wisdom of the midwife, breathe, my love, then push. When joy comes, let it come. In joy, we see the world begin to shift. Imagine that one day we will look back into this era in our nation's history with regret that it took so long to save the lives of our children, and that relief that we were the ones. Can you imagine that? Yeah, we were the ones who finally put an end to the carnage. I believe that world is possible. Breathe with me. And in these beautiful words in Shartakala, even in the darkness, ever-rising spirit reigns. Valerie. Powerful. I read you the whole thing because her words are the words of a wise, wise woman who walks the path of truth and a willingness to be brave enough to participate in that truth and make a difference. Now, sometimes we can look at what we're feeling and it can feel like, ooh, this is heading towards a depression. But throughout whatever you're feeling, that's what this whole month is about. Just pay attention to it and breathe with it and let it have a dialogue with you. Will things ever change? Of course they do. Life is a process of evolution and change. The frustration, anger, and sadness, it only seems to prevail, but all these emotions, here it is again, are floating on an ocean of love. All of them. Despair means that we are soul searching for our way. That's all. There is a point when we're soul searching that suddenly we say, I surrender to this now. I am no longer going to fight for the resistance of what I feel, but I'm going to allow love to flow through me, and I'm going to listen deeply, deeply, deeply for the guidance and the compassion for what is mine to do here, because I know together we make a difference. Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu from the Book of Joy, the way, now these two men know this truth, So let us take heart to their words. The way through the sadness and grief that comes from great loss, use it for motivation and generate a deeper sense of purpose. Now, I hope this is bolstering your heart, because when we realize I'm that one, then we use this, because our human nature is to know sadness. Loss comes. Brene Brown, again, she has been known to say, our sadness is really courageous, and it's a necessary step for us to feel it and know our way back to ourselves, but also back to each other. I shared that beautiful poem last week from Thich Nhat Hanh about how we bury our head in our hands and look deeply within at what is. So our soul doesn't leave us. We use space, we use breathing and mindfulness to check in and witness the glimmers of hope, to awaken our courage to act, to find our strength to stand for a cause, to stand for something that is life-giving and supportive. Another beautiful quote that goes with the flow: to go with the flow of life is to live without a map, to be vulnerable. And yes, we are vulnerable. Those of us that enjoy this community, those of you at home that are witnessing this philosophy of great truth, you are embodying this wisdom. You are using it as a tool. I can do this in my lifetime. And so we are vulnerable in that, but we're trusting God in our experience. Yes, we are. It is being able to stop digging our heels in against the tide. It is responding to the nudging and prompting of grace. Robert Raines, a composer and a writer. Let's not dig in our heels in resistance once we have expressed our anger and rage. Let's feel the sadness and then look at if it's starting to take another route, and we need to hone in our skills. We need to look honestly at ourselves. We need to get to the bottom of our anger. And Richard Rohr says that's where you face the ocean when you face that ocean of sadness, then you see what lies underneath. What's underneath? That love. That love that suddenly surprises you like it did me when I was at school and I found myself laughing when I thought I was going to be heartbroken for the rest of my life. We find our way. Eventually, a great love with empathy and compassion from our fellow friends, from our family, from ourselves. We return to our body. We return to our heart. We return to our minds. And remember, I dwell in this vast ocean of being. Just because the tide is out doesn't mean that the ocean isn't still there in the same volume of truth and love to support us. In the language of love, I'm going to close here shortly, and I'm going to invite Judy forward because I would like to do forgiveness, loving kindness meditation together. So we feel that love right today as a soothing balm. But as I look at all the talks that we've done about emotions, and I've referenced the language of emotions by Carla McLaren several times. But she says this, when it comes to grief, the subtitles it in the deep river of the soul. Grief is in the deep river of the soul. It is beautiful and a powerful emotion that arises with loss and drops you directly into the river of all souls. We are one there. It is universal. It transports us to a place we ultimately have to let go. We have to let go, and we have to surrender to loss itself. But we're dropped into the deep water of love. Intellect can't take us there. The tragedy of loss will never make sense. We cannot explain why these things happen. Grief just quietly says, be still. Stop trying to move forward and dive deeper into the emotion of truth. We are immersed in very sacred, visceral, real place that is bathing us in the divine arms of love. Carla shares the time her mother passed. She didn't fight her grief at all. None of her thoughts, none of her visions of the future, none of it mattered because my body knew that she was gone. It didn't matter that my spirit couldn't imagine her traveling to the other world because my heart couldn't feel her next time to couldn't feel her heart next to mine anymore. All the mental facts about her meds and possible reactions, all gibberish. A part of my body and a part of my heart felt gone, and I needed to grieve Mom's death deeply right there in front of her comatose body. So I did grieve. I allowed it to grab hold of me, plunge me into the river of the soul, the river of all souls, where my position as a living person gave me a very important task. My job, carry my living tears to that river so it could be fed and renewed. Without those tears, the river was too shallow to carry my mother to the next world. We've all been there. We think something's wrong with us when grief arises. It surprises us. But let us take a moment to join in the oneness. Continue, Judy, thank you. I want you to just sit comfortably in your body. Mind like the ocean from Jack Kornfield. Think right now. The analogy of water I've brought up several times today. Develop a mind right now that is vast, like the water, where experiences, both pleasant and unpleasant, they appear and they disappear. Without conflict, struggle, or harm, you can rest in that body of vast water. That's the Buddha. So we sit comfortably today and we check in. I am breathing here. I can close my eyes. I'm willing to take those deep breaths. I'm allowing myself to be still, and I'm imagining and I'm feeling my mind is the vast ocean of love. I sense myself deep underneath, under that water, silent and at ease, floating as if in the depths of the ocean, relaxing and resting in the vast, calm water of spirit. Waves of sound, feelings and thoughts, yes, they can arise from this ocean, but the ocean remains untroubled. Thoughts and images come and go like waves on the surface. Sounds and sensations float and change as they will. Let all the experience in this meditation arise and pass, moving without resistance, disappear without struggle. We breathe. We rest in the deep, silent peace. Our minds become like the water, accepting all things, untroubled and still. Breathe deeper, breathe deeper. The water is holding you. Stay this way until you genuinely feel the peace. When you are ready, you carry the stillness back into the world that is longing to hear from you how you found your way. So in this holy moment, on this day, this weekend that we celebrate the memory of so many, our hearts are humbled to a place of stillness, to a place of truth, to that vast ocean of love. And we find, yes, there is some comfort here, knowing that we're all in the river of souls, feeling what we feel as we move through, As the tide carries us in and out, we feel what is. And by being a courageous spiritual warrior, we stand in our truth and we speak our word of loving kindness. We reimagine a world where the guns are laid down and we care for the mentally ill and we embrace one another in only the ways our humanness can. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this community, for the wisdom and the way of love. I release this prayer knowing for the ears that hear, the hearts are changing, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, that was awesome. And that was awesome. So I'd like to invite the ushers forward, please. And as they come forward, Charlie and I will be at the bell. If afterwards any of you would like to have a prayer, our form of affirmative prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment. All right. As we prepare to give our offering, our hearts are filled with love and appreciation, since what is offered here is for our spiritual well-being, and we are filled with gratitude, knowing that life stays in balance, for as we give, we receive. I give thanks for the blessed donations received in the offering this morning and during the week. And I know each dollar supports this spiritual family in so many ways as we grow together, pray together, and give thanks for all that this center has blessed us with today and always. And so it is. All right, so we have some closing music. And Charlie and I will be there, and if Shirley wants to help too, that would be really great. And there is food in the social hall, so hopefully we'll see you there.
While the choir's getting ready, I just wanted to remind you that out in the open area, there's still some plants left over. We're closing that up today, but if there is some, just make a donation, grab what you want, and run and plant it today. Thank you. Thank you all for receiving their love with such an open heart, and thank you, choir, for a good year, bringing us through a lot of touchy times.
Yes.
But there you were with your hair painted, little clothes on you. Yeah, you made a difference in my heart for sure, and I know I speak for all those in the audience. And Morgan, I know when we see you again, you'll charge us probably $10,000 or something just to have a showing. But we are so dang blessed by you in every way. And this choir and you have made these services just pop. So thank you. And thank you all.